Hey guys, Jason here with Roar 3D Solutions. I have an exciting product to talk about today. It's my newly revamped Flight Design CTSW. It's a small general aviation aircraft, and it's exciting because it's fully rigged. And what we're doing here is there's a lot going on in the background. That's just so you can see what's happening when the aircraft is actually in a static state. So if I'm interested more in the lighting effects, we'll start with that real quick. So by running the timeline, you'll get the lighting to begin the timing sequence. However, you will need to select the aircraft, and then you have to come down here to where you have your option for your nav lights, which you will have anti-collision, you'll have nav lights, and you'll have a beacon. These are all set to timers so that it gives you a realistic effect while the aircraft is going to be flying. Now, if you don't want collision lights and you just want nav lights, the collision lights can be removed. But right now they're all integrated together. Same thing, landing lights. And the landing lights will give you a nice glow. I've added some visibility into the actual rendering. Most all this is set for inverse fall off for accurate rendering. So as you are making your animation, if you decide to make changes to the output of the lights, you're welcome to do that as well. I have just set it up in a way so that it hopefully will give you what I believe is the more accurate rendering, with or without global illumination. I've also added in, if I go into the render settings, you can see I have the lens effect. I have added in the lens effect for reflexing on the bright lights, more specifically the nav lights and the strobe lights. So when you render those out, whether it's global illum or not, you'll get a nice flashlight, searchlight flare to it. So that's an automatic thing. Same thing with the landing lights. I made it a little bit more intense for obvious reasons. So you'll get the rendering of the volumetric light, plus you'll get the spotlight effect from the aircraft. Try that one more time as you're close in on the light, so it'll be blinding. Now ultimately the goal, here's some of that flare, the goal of this is to make sure that you have a quality aircraft that you can use. It's no good if you can't use it for whatever purpose that you have. This is a simple airplane, but it does have all these little features that are going to help kind of make it stand out. I've also included some cockpit lights. As you can see, all it does is illuminate the cockpit a little bit. You also have the controls, whether you're selected on the heads-up display, which you can also delete and remove if you like. I just put it there because some people do prefer this. I've included controls for the pilot door to open and the co-pilot door to open. And you'll get a nice warming effect with a kind of a soft light inside the cockpit for any kind of night shots. Now with that also comes instrument lights. So one annoying thing that I always deal with is I always have issues with making the instrument lights the right brightness. So what I've done is, let's say we're flying, and let's say we want just instrument lights. You can have just instrument lights. Now they are adjustable, so you go ahead and set it to your desire. 100% is actually 150% brightness on the lights, so you can make this highly adjustable during the daytime if you feel like your day animation shots are still too dark. Just bump up the lights on the internally on the cockpit. Now closing in here, I want to look real quick at the flight sticks. What I've done is I've added a deformer into both flight sticks. So the we'll call it the boot that is on the flight stick is actually going to be kind of conforming to the flight stick's motions. And yes, you can roll and bank and move the flight stick wherever it is that you like, and the boot will continue to follow. Now, of course, linked with the elevator and the aileron are the actual control surfaces on the wings and on the tail. So, so you have full deflection. It's only about 10 degrees, so it's accurate to the actual aircraft. Same with the elevator. You have full deflection, and I've done it all in percentages. And then you have rudder, which will control your rudder, of course, your nose wheel and your foot pedals for the rudder on the interior of the cockpit. And of course, can't forget flaps. Everything is accessed properly so that it's easy for you to just control and go. There should be very much work involved. Obviously, like I mentioned, you can remove any of these features that you may not want. In fact, in the kit that I offer through CG Trader or on my website at roar3dsolutions.com, link in this description below, you are able to take this model without any rigging whatsoever, because some people just like to rig it themselves, or they like they're too scared of using Espresso. So you have the option of using either the model without any rigging or this model. And as you can see, there's been a lot of work involved to make sure that everything is properly accessed, rotating correctly, enabled, visible, and rendering all the goodies. And I guess the one last thing that I want to make sure to cover with you is the propeller RPM. So why is this important? Well, sometimes it doesn't matter. If you want the prop to rotate, you can use a vibrate tag, or you can animate it manually. This is just kind of a nice thing, nice little addition to the model. So I have a prop RPM. It's not a true RPM, but it's pretty close. I haven't done all the math to work it out, so it's 1:1. But clearly, as you increase speed, the propeller will increase speed as it is. Now, obviously, the frame rate that we capture here in the viewport, you may not see that it's going very quickly, but it is, in fact, moving at a very high rate of speed. And the beautiful part about this is that you can sit here and you can set it up under the physical renderer. In physical renderer, make sure that you have motion blur selected. In this case, I have it fixed, which is what I want. And you don't really need anything else except, I don't know, let's go ahead and just use the landing light. So if I drop right now the RPM down, and we'll just do this, and I render this out, you'll see that it's going to go through the motions. Clearly we don't actually have a motion right now, it's static. So we have that nice little flare going on with the lights, as if we're kind of in a little bit of a fog or haze. And it gives a nice little pop with that lens effect. Or I can sit here and we can be flying. And let's go ahead and render this out. Now, as we go through the motions, we have motion to the propeller, and now you can get a clean looking motion blur. Granted, this is a low sampling, so you're not going to have a very pretty motion blur. You're going to have to bump up the sampling on the motion blur to make that into something that is more attractive. But that's the Flight Design CTSW by Roar 3D Solutions, and I am Jason Roar. I thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoy my product, and again, always look on my website at roar3dsolutions.com for sales and details on any upcoming new models. Thanks, guys.